maybe 3 days ago, it was 88 degrees out here in the Raleigh garden, and now we're gonna have 3 nights in a row at or below freezing. So I think predicted for us tonight is 32, and then 29, and then 32 again. And a big storm coming before that as we're filming this. A lot of you, as you're watching this, that storm will have already come through. I think it's supposed to make it through here about 2 o'clock. Fairly dangerous situation for potential tornadoes and hail and down trees and all those kinds of things that we get with these spring storms, where summer and winter are now having a fight, right, to see who's going to win. Summer was winning just a few days ago, and now winter is back. We're gonna have to cover a few things out here. I don't cover before we get storms, and so I don't want, basically, if I put some sort of cover on a plant right now, when that wind comes, it could just push the plant over, you know, basically ends up as a sail, or my covers just go flying away, right? So we've got a really big collection of, we've kept towels and sheets and pillowcases and all kinds of different kinds of things we can cover with. We are going to cover some things. I can't cover the big giant things out here though, and this may be the 2nd year in a row that the Loropetalum lose their flowers. We've had this happen last year. Most years we escape with these coming into full flower and it's no problem, but they're pretty much all in some stage of flowering around the neighborhood right now. You see it, I think we were about a day or 2 away from it being in absolute full flower. Again, I think those will get knocked back. It doesn't hurt these Loropetalum overall. They'll just kind of reset, but they don't think they will. And we may get a few flowers that weren't open enough to be damaged. Something like all this new growth on this Osmanthus fragrans is all going to get knocked back. There's about this much new growth on it. Again, you hit 88 degrees and the soil temperature warmed up that much, then things were just waking up. My azaleas that still have just buds on them, that are still tight buds, they'll be fine. So I probably won't even cover those. I'm really going to concentrate on some of the things that have put on a lot of new growth, and I'll show you some of those. We have a lot of different materials to cover with. Again, I'm not going to take them down until after we get the storm, but I've got shade cloths. I've got a roll of clear plastic. Be careful with clear plastic because it can warm up a lot during the day. So I can leave the shade cloth on. We've got, behind this are bags of towels and sheets and all kind of pillowcases, literally pillowcases that we can put over something like one of those Japanese maples. All of that is stuff that we can leave on for 2 or 3 days. When you move over to clear plastic, which I do have a roll of and I may use, that needs to come off during the day. So that'll come off during the day and go back on in the evening. So I have that option as well. If I wanted to go bigger, I do have a 100-foot roll of clear plastic. I'm just going to decide that once I use up all the materials that I already have. Again, I highly encourage you, if you're going to garden, you're going to push the limits of, you know, the area that you're in. With some of the crazier weather we seem to have now, I would just collect these things, you know, where you're throwing towels out and you're throwing bed sheets out and you're throwing all those things out. You probably could have, you know, if you store them somewhere, you know, they may come in handy one day. This Japanese maple would be a prime example of something that, you know, has potential to have its foliage burned back. I mean, it's just a little ahead of where it would, where it should be, just because, again, it got so warm there. But it's also a plant that's a great example of something I wouldn't put a cover on before you get a storm, because, you know, that thing is delicate and any kind of wind pushing a sail could damage it. This Distilleum here, probably a great example of, you know, these flower, they're in the same family as this Loropetalum up above it that I just showed you, and the witch hazel family. They get little flowers along the stems. We don't really grow these for these flowers. There's some right there, Steph. You see that? This Bayou Bliss does flower pretty well. And it hasn't quite colored up yet. We're thinking about this foliage here. I can simply put a towel over this. It's not the 32, 29, 32 degree Fahrenheit temperatures we're going to get. With a cover over this should prevent that from getting burned completely back. So again, just kind of on the hunt for things with a lot of new growth. I'm more concerned with probably the leafy evergreens than I am the deciduous plants that leafed out a little bit ahead. A lot of those are for whatever reason a little more capable standing up to minor frost and freezes. I think they're just kind of used to leafing out early, potentially. The other thing is about the size of the plants. I mean, some of the plants out here, you know, like the Loropetalum and the Osmanthus I showed you, or maybe this Weigela, are just, you know, they get to the point where I've got a cover big enough to cover this, but I'm probably going to get a better bang for my buck using that same cover to cover 5 things someplace than this one thing. It may get knocked back. It probably just the newest of the new foliage on this might get burned just a hair over the night, but I'm probably going to prioritize my leafy evergreens over these deciduous things that are waking up. This is what I'm talking about bang for your buck, okay? If I try to cover one of these 6 or 7 or 8 foot tall things like this Mahonia or that Alyssium back there, which I don't need to cover, but if I was going to, that would just take up a big giant sheet or, you know, some big piece of it. But here, through this area, I can get a lot of bang for my buck with a single sheet. I can cover some of these perennials like the Pulmonaria that's already blooming down at the ground, the hostas that have poked up a couple inches already. I've got Mayaples, native Mayapple, Chinese Mayapple that's up. Got hellebores in full flower, Pieris here that's leafed out 2 or 3 inches, a Cuba that's blooming over next to it. So that single sheet can cover this entire space. I normally don't worry about perennials that are just breaking the ground because they're so close to the ground that normally the soil temperature keeps them from being harmed. You know, it's most of the time you don't get frost necessarily on those things that are like here in this the mulched spaces, but 3 consecutive nights almost certainly, even that stuff that's breaking ground. So bang for my buck is the main thing I'm looking for. I don't have enough covers to cover everything. So I'm just going to hit the spots where I can protect 10 things at one time in this space. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on how to use the materials that I have. So I think it's this real combination of having had a really cold winter. Not cold, it wasn't, I don't want to say it was cold in terms of the low temperature we had, because I think had 12 degrees or something was the lowest temperature we actually had for the winter. We have much worse winters than that in terms of the single coldest night, but we had a much more extended period of time. And I think that's what got a lot of these plants just moving really, really quickly, is they had hit their chill hour number, which is, you know, the amount of hours below. All these plants have some sort of chill hour amount that they're required during the winter that they stay asleep. And so they hit whatever number that was of nights below 45 degrees Fahrenheit and hours below 45 degrees Fahrenheit. And then as soon as it warmed up at all, they started growing. So things like the Chinese viburnum here, the Viburnum macrocephalum is coming into full flower. Again, this is so tall I can't really do anything to protect it the next 3 nights at all. But so it's gone, you know, it's on its own. Who knows? It's not going to hurt the plant. It's just going to knock it back and knock any of the new growth back on it and just kind of reset it. But it may cost the flowers on it for the spring season here, just because they're so far along. Same thing with something like this Clayera, where all this new growth has started on it. Again, it was just ready. It was ready and firing away. This is a plant that we don't care. I mean, if Clayera is a flowering plant, but we don't grow these for flowers. We grow these for foliage typically, or for function, you know, being a screening plant or, you know, whatever it is. This one for its beautiful variegation. This, so the Juliet Clayera. So I'm just not, this is something I'm not going to cover. This to me is just a free pruning. It's going to knock that new growth back. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm really, as I only have the amount of covers that I have, I'm going to go through here and prioritize I'm going to prioritize keeping as many flowers as I can for the rest of spring. So if there's anything that's really close to being in flower, I'm going to prevent that. Or if there's something that could be damaged a little beyond, you know, just that newest growth, that Distilleum is a good example of that, where they can, you know, once they're awake like that, I've noticed that they can take a decent, you know, good amount of damage beyond even that new growth maybe. So I want to cover that Distilleum. But this, I think it's just going to be a free pruning for us. And again, I'm also just trying to make my covers go as far as possible, right? If I cover something that's 6 foot tall with a sheet, you know, whereas I could take that sheet and cover 3 or 4 low things somewhere else, you know, I'm probably going to do that. Some of our shade leafy evergreens have leafed out way ahead. I've got Pieris with 2 inches of growth on them. They're one of those plants that just get started early. Akuba's way ahead of probably where it should be. There's new growth on it that's 2 and 3 inches long at this point already. It has the potential to be knocked back. And then we have, here's a hollies with open flowers on them. So I put this screenplay holly on, talked about it on Instagram the other day. If you follow us over on Instagram or HortTube on Facebook, I am putting up kind of short form video now on individual plants on both of those platforms. If you want to, you know, 90-second version of some of the plants that are in this garden and others, that we are doing that over on Instagram now. But these flowers are just peak at this point. Pollinators are in the process of pollinating these during the day. Again, this, you know, this is about, you know, this thing is at such a height now that I don't know, you know, what I'll do, you know, on this. But I do think, if it was just one night, if it was just like one night and it was going to be 32, I think most things would probably be okay. Maybe you'd see a little bit of burn on some boxwoods and that Distilium I showed you and a few other things. I think we're going to get, though, with 3 consecutive nights, 32 degrees or lower. So what we're going to do is put covers on. Storm's going to go by. As soon as that's done, covers are dry right now. I don't want to have them out in the rain. And we're going to just try to cover as many things with newish growth or open flowers or nearly open flowers as we can. And they're going to stay on for a few days. This will probably be one of the longer runs I've ever done for early spring in my own garden. You know, normally you get, like, by March you only get like one quick night down around frost or freezing, or maybe upper 20s, and then it's done. But this is 3 consecutive nights of it, so slightly more concerned about it than normal. We're in the process of redoing our paths back here, so we've got these piles of piles of wood chips that I haven't raked out yet. One thing here, and not telling anybody to be out there cutting limbs down before a storm comes, because, you know, that can be dangerous when you're scrambling, you're not thinking clearly and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, this is one of those moments where you go, oh man, I should have cut that thing down or cut that thing off, you know. So be thinking about those things in the future, that, you know, I don't want a big giant dead limb falling, you know, as a result of one of these storms. It might be just something to think about in the future, before the storms come. The rain we're getting ahead of time is good. You know, water is an insulator, so I'm not worried about the ground. You know, but if it was absolutely bone dry and it was dropping to those temperatures, I'd make sure any containers I had were watered well. I might water, you know, even water the plants in the ground at that case. But luckily we've gotten a little bit of moisture here. We're getting rain before this happens. One thing that can be difficult is that first night after the storm, it could be kind of unsettled and covers trying to blow off and that kind of thing. So maybe keeping a few bricks stacked up somewhere can be helpful to hold corners down of these covers when you're first putting them down. Almost certainly the second night of something like this, it will be dead still. That's our 29-degree night, and that's the, you know, when it's dead still like that is when the temperature, when the heat's really able to escape into the atmosphere, you know, after the sun goes down. This sunshine ligustrum doesn't flower, so we're not really growing it for flowers. I may, if I had a cover, you know, it looks great right now because it's got all this new growth on it. If I have an extra cover, I'll throw a cover on it, but I'm going to rank it lower in my covering because, number one, it's zone 6 hardy. It's not going to be hurt by this. It is going to be fried back. It also comes back out very quickly. So, you know, again, I'm ranking these things based on, am I going to lose flowers on it? Am I going to lose some sort of season of growth on it, you know, where you're trying to screen your neighbor or something and you put in things that are this tall right now and they've got this much new growth on them? You know, that growth is going to cost you something from trying to screen the neighbors, right? And then, you know, this would be really late in that list, you know, as I'm prioritizing things, because I'm not growing it for flowers. It'll flush right back out. Everything will be fine with it. But if I end up with an extra cover, obviously, you know, a simple sheet over top of this will prevent this foliage in all likelihood from being burned back. And we'll keep it just continuing to flush out. And when this thing's actively growing is when it looks its best, you know, with this bright chartreuse color. So there you go. There's some thoughts this morning on, you know, I think this is an event you actually want to throw some covers over on, or you're going to lose a lot of your spring growth. We get this every few years. Well, we always get a late frost. And again, if it was like one night, it was going to be 31 or 32, probably wouldn't put that much effort into this. But the fact that we're looking at 3 consecutive nights of it, almost certainly that is going to be damaging. You know, it's it's easy for a plant to overcome that. Plus we have a lot of ground heat. So that first night we would probably be having, you know, that cold is measured at like 6 feet off the ground or something is where they measure temperature. So even if the temperature was 32 here, it'd be unlikely down at the ground that it would be quite that cold. This is 3 nights in a row of it though. It's gonna work its way right down to the ground, and the perennials that are breaking dormancy and everything is gonna be vulnerable potentially to getting knocked back. Nothing out here is gonna be killed from this. I mean, nothing. I don't expect anything to actually be damaged. I'm just trying not to erase all the effort that these plants have put into all this work, you know, to flushing out so far this spring. So good luck with the storm. Hopefully you didn't get any actual wind damage or any of the, you know, the things that storm is probably more important. You know, we all get through that. They've actually closed the schools here for the day for the storms that are coming in. So hopefully everybody gets through that. More important than obviously protecting new foliage or flowers on our plants in our garden. Thanks for watching.